Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to use RawCam. This is a raw video recording application for iPhones, and it runs on the same type of platform that MotionCam RAW runs on. MotionCam RAW is a raw video recorder for Android, and I did a showcase video on it sometime last year, and this is the same technology now on the iPhones. This allows you to record up to 4K 24 FPS video on any iPhone, and you can also do 16:9 or a full open gate recording RAW. This has the same limitations as MotionCam RAW, and in this video I'll also be going through a full color grading guide for photographers. With this file container, you will be using Cinema.dng, which is a sequence of DNG raw images, and you can either use DaVinci Resolve to directly color grade your footage, or you can use Lightroom and do it that way. In this video, I'll be showing how to use Lightroom and image sequencing and working fully in the Adobe Suite. So this right here is the interface for the video application. And here you can see the different features that I mentioned earlier, which is the open gate and 4K recording, and you can also do 1080p using the half resolution setting. It's a little bare bones compared to the MotionCam Pro app, but it has all the basic functionality that you need to record the raw video. You can also do manual exposure as well as manual focus, and you can switch between the 0.5 lens and the 1x lens. And here you can see the indicator, and now before we start recording any video, I'll be showing how to set up the computer. I'll be doing this primarily on Windows, but the documentation also works for the macOS version. So go ahead and download the MotionCam tools, and after setting it up, you can use this tool to extract the video format. So MotionCam RAW and the RawCam application on iOS both use the same mcraw format, and from this format we can extract the Cinema.dng images. So right now we've installed it. You can also directly import it into Premiere Pro, but for this method I'll be showing you how to do the individual frame color correction and color grading. In this video we'll also go over HDR color grading. And here, this is a specific issue with the RawCam application and the way it records the mcraw container. Some of the DNG files don't have the correct preview needed for Lightroom to parse the files. So we'll be using this as an intermediate tool to convert our DNG sequence into a format that's readable by Lightroom. So once we've got all this set up, we can also go ahead and this tool can only be accessed through the command line, so go ahead and set it up here. And once we have all that done, I'll be using local send between Windows and my iPhone to send the files. It works just like AirDrop, and if you have a Mac, you can also just directly AirDrop the files or plug it in and transfer it via a wire. I found this to be much quicker than using a wire in some cases, especially on an older iPhone. So I have an iPhone 13, and the lightning cable is only USB 2.0, so the speeds are limited. For this, I can get over 500 megabits per second, and it's basically limited by the Wi-Fi router that you're using. And once you've transferred all the files, I'll show you how to process them in the MotionCam RAW tools. So here I have all of the 6 clips that I recorded earlier, and you can go ahead and open all of them at once. I would recommend turning off all the settings and denoising. This will take a very long time to do, and we'll be doing the denoising within Lightroom afterwards anyway. I would also recommend turning off the compressed DNG and the vignette correction, because we can also do that in Lightroom. And once you've done that, we can go ahead and render all of our DNG files, and they'll be placed in a folder of your choice. Once that's complete, it'll be processed in individual folders. And as you can see, the sequence is here with the numbers. And there's also an audio file at the end. So if you're recording something with the audio, make sure you save that somewhere safe. And here, as you can see in Lightroom, it'll say preview is unavailable, and even after clicking import, it will not allow you to. So now we'll be using the other command line tool, DNG Lab, to fix that issue. So to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and copy the path, and you can also just drag in the folder directly to convert the files. And for now, I'm going to be deleting the mcraw files since we've already processed the DNGs. And I'm making these folders as the destination folders for the converted DNG files. And after opening the command line, we can go ahead and access the DNG lab and process them. So the command is dng lab convert and then space, and then drag in the source folder and then drag in the destination folder. And you will have to do this one by one for each of the folders. Once you've done it for all of your images, you can go ahead and import them into Lightroom. As you can see, the previews are loaded correctly, and I recommend storing each of them in a different folder since it's important that we use the sync functionality in Lightroom so that our edits are applied across all of the images. And here on the left, you can see the navigation with the folders. So you can see on screen how I'll be doing the edits, and I'll also show the HDR color grading portion. So when you export with HDR metadata on these photos, you can actually access them directly in Premiere Pro, and the HDR color grading stays the exact same. So here for this image, as you can see, you can click through and see the full sequence, and just keep in mind that this is 24 frames per second, so processing these frames will require a pretty powerful computer, and GPU acceleration is highly recommended, especially if you're going to be doing the denoising later. But as you can see, you can zoom into the clip, and you can do changes on. This frame is a better example to show the strengths of the RAWCAM image format. So as you can see, it looks as if it was just a normal photo, and we can extract these frames if we would like to even send these images directly, which is something you would not be able to do in a normal video since the compression of each frame would make it obvious that it's from a video. And this looks like a normal photo here. I recommend not using the auto settings or enabling HDR for now, since it's easier for the workflow, and also if you click auto, the color grading on each frame will not be consistent. So I would first choose a reference frame that is pretty high contrast. So as you can see, this is where the sunset is reflecting off the water, as well as the shadows in the duck's feathers as well. So starting with this, you can go ahead and edit. And if you already have a HDR enabled display, such as a MacBook from the past 3 years, they all have HDR displays, so you can already go ahead and enable the HDR editing before doing that. And here is the denoise function as well. I found that the denoise on this is very good compared to any other dedicated video denoising tool, since it denoises frame by frame rather than a continuous video denoise. And if you don't have an HDR display, you can also disable the HDR function, edit your photos, and then re-enable it, and then use the histogram to determine where the HDR tone mapping is. And if you also find that it's clipping in any ways, I would recommend not clipping the highlights anywhere in the HDR space. And then when you're in your video editor later, you can also use the histogram there or lumetri scopes to determine what is the best settings for you. I also recommend not playing with the texture, clarity, or dehaze, as this may affect the quality overall. We want the cleanest image possible with only the color settings changed. Things such as texture and sharpening can be edited later on in Premiere Pro or any other video editing software. I also recommend turning off sharpening here as well. And if you'd like, you can also go further into color grading, but some settings I also find that keyframing is necessary, such as in Premiere Pro, you can keyframe your lumetri edits to change exposure over time or change the curves or exposure curves and such as that. So I would also leave that for later. And then ensure that your lens profile corrections are turned on. It will not pick up by default since the mcraw file format does not read the camera data like that. And once we're ready, make sure you have all the photos in the folder selected, and then you can click check all and then synchronize. And if you do end up using the denoise function in Lightroom, it will certainly take some time. And here I moved on to the next photo. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this area. If you would like, you can play the video at 0.25 speed and fully view all of my edits. Once you've done the color grading for all your images, now we get to the most important part, which is exporting the images. So right now we will be converting it from a RAW format into a technically compressed format. However, the color, since we've already done the color grading, the quality of the end video will be very high. So I recommend using the PNG with the HDR Rec 2020 color space. So if you'd like, you can also directly export to TIFF, so this enables the HDR color space as well as the advantages of RAW video. However, the file sizes will be very high compared to using PNG. So if you're done with all your edits at this point, I recommend turning on the HDR output for Rec 2020 and then exporting the image sequence. So here, now that we've embedded the color space into the images, I'm now on my Mac and I'm going to be editing the video and putting together the frames. So the HDR Rec 2020 color space from the PNG format, this will be a PQ 2100 color gamma instead of 2100 HLG. If your work requires HLG, you can use Premiere Pro to convert between the color spaces, and you can use lumetri scopes to further color grade and ensure that your color is accurate. However, there is no way to export in directly to 2100 HLG from Lightroom. So I would say this is the best method to getting the most color information in your image with the biggest color space as well. So here you can see the seek from your source footage will likely be very slow due to full PNG frames being loaded for each one. However, after we transcode it to ProRes, which usually is very quick, it will be a much faster playback. So when you first import your image sequences, make sure that you change the frame rate to 24 FPS, since this is what we shot it in. The default is going to be 29.97 when you import, since it's an image sequence and we don't have the information. As you can see, when you import, you can directly see that it's Rec 2100 PQ, and the color space info will all be there. Once you have all of your footage, you can go ahead and import it into your timeline, and I recommend exporting your clips one by one. And for this demo, I will not be adding the audio to my videos, but in this step, make sure you don't forget to do that. And here in color setup, if you would like I mentioned earlier, if you needed an HLG output, you can use direct HLG, and your Premiere Pro will automatically color manage your footage. But here I will be going with direct PQ. And for reference, direct PQ just means HDR10, and HLG is just HDR. HLG is also generally more supported, and PQ is also considered higher quality. And at this stage, I would also recommend adding the warp stabilizer or any other effects that you would need. And also, if you feel that your footage is overexposed and looks a little bit different from Lightroom, you can also change the exposure controls using lumetri scopes and ensuring that the HDR rendition of your footage is correct. So here I'm in the color tab in Premiere Pro, and make sure that your clamp signal is set to 10 bits, so this will be displaying the HDR color data. And on the left you can see the 0 to 100 nits scale, so if it was viewed as HLG on a SDR screen, and then HDR on the right. And then here on the sunset scene, I'm trying to get most of the sky in the HDR range and then have the sun at the top. And as you can see, the flat bit around where the sun is, that means that we likely clipped the highlights on our original edit in Lightroom. I would advise against doing that, since HDR is has enough stops for us to fully have all the color information. And then I would recommend clipping the highlights and shadows in Premiere Pro later. And here I'm going to show the best export settings. So I would recommend using ProRes for this, as it has all of the information that we need. So ProRes 422 high quality, and make sure that you set it based on whatever color space you need. So if you were already editing in HLG, so I ended up changing this timeline to HLG. This whole video will be exported in HLG since YouTube generally likes that format better than HDR10. And as you can see, the export speed is very fast, and I'm editing on a MacBook Air M3. And after exporting, the file sizes should also go down, since ProRes is a more efficient format than our raw images individually. So as you can see, it's only 500 megabytes, and this is around 8-second clip. And now that we're done editing, it's now time for the comparison. So this is directly from the iPhone camera. As you can see, the highlights are all blown out and the sun looks too bright. And now this is what we got out from RAWCam. So as you can see, there's a lot more detail in the shadows and the highlights. And these are the other clips that I shot on the same day. And of course, it's your preference to choose how you edit each of your clips. This is a pretty sunny day, and I also didn't have an ND filter for my phone camera, so the shutter speed was pretty high, so that also does contribute to how crisp the image looks. In the end, I didn't apply any sharpening to any of these photos or any of the frames individually, and this was the end product. And thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below.